When I reached a certain age, I began to feel more and more concerned about how I was going to pass on my assets to those I cared about. In my case, spouse, children, grandchildren. This is a very typical thing to be thinking about, and I'm sure many of you also weigh these questions in your mind. So if it's a matter of tangible assets, money, property, there are things a person can do: write a will, create a trust, maybe a revocable living trust. All those are good plans, and there are other things too, but that's not what I want to talk about today. I'm talking about passing on the intangible assets, the things that money can't buy, really, like your memories. Those are things that are in your head, in your experience, in your life, that you would probably like to be able to pass on down to your children, grandchildren, and others. When I think about my own life, my own history, growing up, my parents shared with me various experiences, anecdotes about their own lives, and I remember some of them, but maybe not all. And of course, I don't have all the details of their lives. When it comes to grandparents, what I can retain from my own grandparents, and I only had two, is even less. One time I found a small journal that my father had started writing during World War II when he was in the Navy. And I was very excited to begin reading his journal. And it petered out after like 3 or 4 pages. He just stopped writing. And before that, it was quite interesting where his ship, the USS Detroit, was, what they were doing. When they crossed the equator, he got a diploma of some kind, and things like that. But he didn't keep writing. And so I don't have any other written record of what my father might have thought about different phases of his life. So being mindful of those things, I want to do better than my own father did in terms of passing down my intangible assets. And to do that, I've created for myself a 5-point plan for passing along my intangible assets. And that's what I'd like to share today. Number 1 has to do with photos. If you're like me, you find someplace in your house, maybe in the attic or the basement, an old cardboard box full of photos. Many of them might be black and white, others negatives that perhaps were printed, perhaps not. They're all in this box. You may know what they are. You may be able to still identify all of the people that are in the pictures. I certainly can't in my case. My mother would have had to say, this is Aunt so-and-so or Uncle so-and-so. But she's not here anymore to even ask. So point 1 is to digitize all those photos and negs. That may take a while. You may have to get a scanner capable of quality scans for those things, which is what I did, because I considered that if I don't do this, no one else is going to do it. They won't know how, they won't know who these people are, and they won't know what to do with them if they even did scan them. So I'm scanning all of these negatives, all of these photos, and I am digitizing them and putting them out on a website. And I'm creating a website that each person in my family or that I want to share these with can have access to. And that way they will have the record of these photos and negatives. That's point one. Point two of my 5-point plan for passing on intangible assets has to do with videos. Now, in my case, I actually have some old 8mm films. Of course, nobody uses that anymore, and even to find a projector to show them can be difficult these days. But I've done that. I've got a projector. I digitize these old 8mm movies. After that, it's the videos. Now, if you are an archivist by heart, such as me, you would have been taking videos of your perhaps children, others you cared about, when these different cameras came out. There was VHS tape, the large tapes about this size, and the cameras that you carried on your shoulder. After that, there was high 8 tape, mini DVD, HD video. Now there's GoPro. It's a lot easier. If, like me, you have boxes of these old tapes, they will never be seen unless you do something about it. You may not even have the wherewithal. I mean, they don't make cameras that play high 8 tapes anymore. Hopefully you still have the old camera, which is what I had to do. Dig it out from wherever I still had it and digitize these old tapes. When I had done that, I created a library of them. What date they were taken, what they're about, and so forth. It can be a good idea in some cases when you have some of these movies, especially if they're like 8mm films that didn't have sound, you can put them to music. That makes them much more interesting to watch, and they're more engaging, so people may pay attention to them. Point 3 of my 5-point plan for passing on intangible assets is create a legacy safe. Now, what I did was you can purchase these fireproof boxes. They're like little safes. They're not extremely hard to break into. You can open them with a key. But inside those, you can put records such as letters. You can put in there tapes, audio recordings. Perhaps I created a box for each of my children. And within that, I'm putting certain things that I want each of them to have. They're not necessarily valuable in terms of money, but they're valuable in terms of memories. Number 4 of my 5-point plan for passing on intangible assets is to journal. If you're someone who likes to write, this may come easy for you. It may not. I have discovered, surprisingly, that there are times in my life when I journal very frequently, sometimes many times a day, and there are other times when I find it very, very difficult to do that. If you want to be able to really pass on aspects of yourself to others that they would never otherwise be able to have, keep a journal. Write down what you're feeling and thinking, what's happening in the day. I don't mean got up, went to work, came home, watched TV, went to bed. I've seen journals like that, and every day was the same. I mean putting down what's real about you and in you, putting that down so that others can have this perspective of your life. Maybe you won't want them to see it until sometime in the future, but there it will be, and they'll have it. Point 5 of my 5-point plan to pass along intangible assets. Create a YouTube channel like this one. and express yourself. Put your heart into it. Put your feelings into it. Don't just try to copy what everyone else is doing. Don't just create YouTubes for the sake of making money, hopefully, trying to get monetized, like that was the most important thing on YouTube. It isn't, or it doesn't have to be. Create a YouTube channel. You can call it your legacy that you're passing on to those who might want to know a little bit more about you, how you were in the real world, in real life, what you had to say, what your feelings were, what you were thinking. What I've just been saying, this 5-point plan, is what you are doing for others, to give to others of your intangible assets. But there's another important aspect of this. What are you doing for yourself? What are you providing for yourself to pass on? That will be in another video. Well, folks, this is G. Willikers. Thanks for listening.